Welcome everyone, this is Top Tier Tips. Greetings everyone, I'm Force Nature of Top Tier Tips and I welcome you to my advanced guide for Ayane in Dead or Alive 6. If you're watching this guide, it's going to be presumed that you've already watched my novice guide for Ayane in Dead or Alive 6. If you haven't, then I want you to stop what you're doing right now, go to that video, click on it, watch it, then come back here. Don't worry, I'll wait. Finished? Good. As I implied earlier, the content in this guide is going to assume that you've already watched my Dead or Alive 6 Novice Ayane guide, which at the minimum you should have at least just, well, done. And also I want to apologize if I do end up reiterating anything in this guide from that guide, because quite frankly, if I reiterate anything, it's probably important to Ayane. For instance, Ayane is a versatile kind of Jill of all trades type character, which means that you can employ like multiple playstyles with her. She can fight comfortably at any range, whether it be close, mid-range, or long range, although she primarily has a preference for like around the anywhere from like mid to long range. So close range is her least preferred range, but although she can fight in there like no problem, because she just still has quick pokes, which are still like relatively strong and whatnot, but I'll just go over some of that stuff like a little later. Before I go on, I just want to thank Smart Esports and Trollcoin for endorsing this video. And as always, if you like this video, smash that like button. If you didn't like this video, just hit the like button anyway, and don't forget to subscribe for more juicy 3D fighter content. I stated in my novice guides, and I'm going to state it now just for the hell of it. When you go into training mode, go down to fight screen info, to go to display skill info, so free training or all modes, doesn't matter which one. Left side for left side character or right for right side character, but because we're just checking Ayane, just have on left. And right now, just leave this on because it's just really good for checking the frames, just for like a quick check for either your character, for your opponent characters, or any characters that give you trouble. It's really good. But just for now, I'll just show you right now, just for reiteration, Ayane's a 10 frame jab, 13 frame elbow or 6P, 13 frames 6K, and a 12 frame 2P. Alright, I'll just let you know right now in particular that Ayane's jab is good, and her 2P is good, her K is good also. Her 6P and 6K are okay. They're decent mids. I mean, 13 frames is not really optimal for in close. In close, you generally would like 12 or, well, 11 frames, but 13 frames is okay. As an added perk, Ayane's 6P can crush jabs. That means it goes under jabs or it can high crush them. So that is a nice benefit with them. And her 6K is okay. It allows you to get like a free jab follow-up because it just gives you plus 12, which is just enough to connect a 10 frame jab, just with the way how the frames work in Dead or Alive, where you have to add 2 frames for strike punishment. I stated earlier that fighting in close range is not really an optimal range for Ayane. It's not terrible, but if you are going to fight in close range, generally what you're going to be using more than anything is either Ayane's 2P or a jab. So Ayane's 2P is 12 frames. 2Ps or down jabs are high crushes. They go under high, so these moves never get hit by high, so you automatically beat out all highs. And because this move is 12 frames, which is the fastest low jab in the game, from neutral, this will beat out all other 12 frame jabs, or at worst will end up like trading. Like Kasumi's one of the few other characters that actually has one. The only other characters with 12 frame 2-piece is Kasumi, Phase 4, or Momoji. I don't think there's any others, but those are the main ones that I know of off the top of my head. So really, under most circumstances, this will beat out other 2Ps. So if you're just doing a 2P, the only thing that you're really going to be concerning yourself with is something like a 11 frame or 12 frame elbows, which can beat it. But if your opponent character has a 13 frame elbow, such as Ayane, so that means in, like, for instance, like an Ayane mirror match, or if you're fighting like a heavyweight character or the slower grappler characters that have 13 frame or slower 2Ps and elbows, 6Ps. 2P will basically just beat out anything they do. So this move is really good. This move's primary purpose is to kind of be a check, or I mean, as like a hit check. It can also be it can also be a kind of like a get off me move. Like, I mean, this move is 0 on hit, so it doesn't lead to anything. But the main purpose of this move is, especially if you're fighting like a slower character than you, this is what effectively might as well practically be frame advantage for you. Unfortunately, if you're fighting a faster character like Kasumi, then this, well, because Kasumi's 6B is faster, you still have to respect it. But this move will still Could still annoy her if she ends up doing any jabs. And of course, if this move were to connect on counter hit, you end up creating space and you're at +5. So if you connect on counter hit, then, well, that's good. You end up creating your space. Generally, what you want to do with Ayane is you want to create space. If you are fighting in close, then generally what you want to be doing is either like fishing for a stun. Like 6p3 is really good. Like you can do jab, jab, 6p, PP, 6k, and remember I said you can get a jab, so that include like that can include PK afterwards. I'll just let you know 6k is the same if it connects on normal hit or counter hit. So generally in close, what you want to do is either try and create space or basically try and connect this throw. Alright, I'll just go over some stuff with this throw like a little later, but I'll let you know that this throw right now is like really good. It guarantees follow-ups. But I'll just go over like combos or stuff like that a bit later. But yeah, in close, applying like formal string pressure is not Ayane's strength, so you can't really do that. Instead, what you're gonna be doing at Ayane's is like doing like a single poke or like double poke. Like for instance, I ended up saying earlier that Ayane's P is good. Right, this move, if it does get blocked, you're -1, which isn't really that bad. If it hits, you're on 0, which is nice. Ayane, when she does her jab, it leaves her back turned. When she's back turned, you get access to her back turn P, which is also 10 frames. The difference is that it's it's a bit negative on hit. But the main thing with her jab, if you end up using this, that the opponent does not want to get hit by back turn 6B. It's the same speed as 6B from front. The difference is it does a lot more damage at 24 damage, and if it were to connect on counter hit, it launches right away. You do not want to get launched by this because then it's like free bound combo attempt or anything like that. So the opponent does have to watch out for that. Although, like again, if you're fighting like someone with like a 11 frame jab or anything like that, you have to be careful with that. So if you think they're going to do an elbow, then you have to jab to keep it in check. If you think they're going to do a high, you can either high crush with this, back turn 2p, back turn 1p. So essentially the one thing I like about the jab is to try and control reactions. Because it puts Ayane in back turn, anytime a move puts you in back turn, press 4-4, or you can do 8p, and look, you end up like creating space when you end up doing that. So I like using jabs as a check, and it's particularly good if it ends up like hitting the opponent. On block, it's okay. I mean, it's -1, so it's you're fully safe. But if the opponent is actually respecting your jabs quite a bit, then you can end up sneaking in one of the best jet punch throws in the game, or jab throw. But Ayane's back turn 60. So this is an amazing 6-frame throw. So in general, in general, when you end up like connecting that jab on block, you can end up doing like jab jab. So I mean, with this, there's PP, PP4P, PP 6P. That last hit would be the last hit would be a launcher, like so. From back turn, like PP4P is like just safe on block. It's like you see, it gives you a frame advantage if it connects on counter hit. There's also PP. PP6K4, or you can just do PPK if the opponent knows to crouch under the second hit. So yeah, there's like a bunch of stuff you can end up like doing that. And you can do like from back turn PP2P also. Your go-to mid-in close range is going to be 6K. Alright, it's 13 frames and it gives you +12, and it doesn't go very far at 1.36 meters, but if you are like right in front of the opponent or anything, and let's say you block something, your move you're going to use to poke back is your 6K. So this is basically your fish for a stun, well, mid, because 6B of course doesn't stun on normal hit, where 6K does, where they're like normal counter hits, it's good. Unfortunately, you can only follow it with your jab. But fortunately, Ayane's jab is really good because of this thing right here, PK. This gives you +46 frame advantage. That's enough frame advantage for a free launcher. So you can use back turn 3P, right, like so, if you want to have like a back turn follow-up. You can use back turn 6P. This one is nice as like a delay or a delayed launcher, in the sense that it comes out so fast that you can delay it to see if the opponent holds and just launch them for free. So if the opponent does hold, then end up using your back turn throw. Or if you see the hold, then you can also do back turn 60 for a lot of damage. That's well over 100 damage on high counter. So yeah, but if you'd like a launcher that's something other than a mid punch, use back turn 4K. When you launch with back turn 4K, you can use either back turn 6B, or if you're uncertain if it's gonna like, if it ends up like missing, if you end up doing it too early, you could just use hold down guard, then do the PK bound right after. So back turn 6K is good. And if you would like a high launcher, hold down guard, and just do H+K afterwards. You're moving close range to blow up 12 frame or 13 frame mids, or if you know the opponent's gonna sidestep, it's KK. So this gives you a great stun on normal hit plus 27. It's very delayable. You can also do PPKK and hint Ayane's PP tracks. So her KK tracks and her PP tracks. So you can do PPKK. It's very delayable. K also, and K, if you just do a single K and you hold back, then you can end up going into Ayane's roll also. Even though I like just trying to just do delay K, or even do like a single one. Be careful though that it is unsafe if you just do a single one on block, so you can delay it up to like 2 additional times over a 3 hit string. If you end up hitting this move, your go-to launcher will be 4 P+K during the stun. You can also do 4K, 3H+K. If you do connect 3H+K, 6. Oh, not that. So back turn 6/6, back turn 6/6 H+K, or back turn H+K after a mini dash, then just do the bound combo after, which actually can do good damage. So you have, oh, not that. So you have 2 mid launchers, counter hit 4K or 3H+K, and you could also use H+K too. So that is your launcher mix up after that. And you can do 3K also if you just want to like keep the stun going. But under most circumstances, you can also launch with 3 PP also. Just like launch right away, and even just doing a 3P is also okay for keeping the stun going. But either way, when KK connects, it's really good. So this is your good go-to normal hit, well, stun starter. (6P) is Ayane's go-to counter hitting mid in close, particularly if you end up, well, crushing jabs or going under jabs. And this move, as you see, it leaves you at plus 19, so you can easily try and launch with back turn 6P. 4K won't work because it needs to be 17 frames as opposed to 18, so really you just generally get a mix-up. However, what makes 6P on counter hits so good is 6P3. As you see right here, you're at plus 22. So in the general mix-up with this, you can either do, there's 2 launchers you can go for. You could go for H+K, which gives you a nice launch. 6P3. Both of these give you enough launch height to go for a bound afterwards, or you can end up going for a low. So that is 6P3 KKK. There is a low option. If you're concerned about the opponent holding a subsequent hit, just use the first hit. However, if the second and third hit connect, then the last hit would be the last hit is guaranteed. So the last 2 hits are a 2 and 1, but the opponent can hold the second hit, which you do have to be careful of sometimes. In fact, nailing 6P3 on counter hit, it's actually incredibly scary. This is actually probably one of the more scary things you can do with your opponent with Ayane. The opponent does not want to get hit by this because it's just, you can eat, I mean, there's so much crap that the opponent has to look out for. For instance, I mean, there's already 2 launchers we can set up a bound to worry for. There's a really good low. You can hold guard, you free cancel, and then you can set up a 6-4T throw. Hell, if you hold back, then you can even do, then you can even go like back turn. You can even go like back turn like this, and you can end up like at doing a back turn 60. So what I did right there is 6B3, 4, then 6K. In fact, 6K is just a really good move in itself. I mean, if it ends up connected on the opponent, you're at plus 19. So that you can just take a free 236K. But of course, if you're concerned that the opponent might try and, well, mid-kick hold you or anything, with the plus 19, you can just do 6-6, so a dash up and do like jab, jab, 6K. So you could basically just use it as like frame advantage or anything. Try and dash up, go for a throw. So I mean, like this move is like really good. And the main thing what makes this move just so good, it's a 15 frame track in mid that is +1 on block. And if I can get tip range, right there you're at +2. So with +2, this move is like just, I mean it's not really that much frame advantage, but the fact that this move is frame advantage at all is nice. So it's still your turn. After this, you could go for like jab, jab. You could do like a 2P just to make sure. You could do like a 6P. In general, like 6BK, like 6B3, 6K. So after this, though, the opponent's gonna assume it's their turn, so you can just like usually jab for free. If you want like a fast high mid, you have like a P4P, which is also even okay after a 6K too. So a 6K also. So with just back turn 6K is just such a nice move, and you can even like do follow up with like 3-3P. So essentially you're in complete control. Keep in mind though that if 6P3 is blocked, just basically hold the guard button and leave yourself at -7, as opposed to just doing it raw where you leave yourself at -10. Although if the opponent is expecting this, then sometimes you can just get away with just doing like a free cancel, or you can also just do 6PK, at least yourself also -7, and it's pretty delayable too. But either way, you end up like leaving yourself at -7, because for instance, if you were to go for an option such as like the low, like if the opponents aren't certain what you're trying to do, or and if they're really afraid of like the launchers, which I'll just let you know are pretty damn unsafe. And yes, -9 plus back turn, you can be strike punished for free for that. So yeah, that is pretty unsafe. So let's say if you go for the low, on paper they are pretty darn unsafe also, like -19, but there's multiple options after them. And there's even a guard break there at like +17, which gives you enough frame advantage to get like a free back turn 6B launcher. But the thing to keep in mind is that if the opponent blocks the first hit, you could basically get like elbowed for if you try and go for the lows for instance after this, you'll get counter hit elbow for free, so you don't want that. So just simply block right after to be on the safe side. So but although you have to read that the opponent blocked it first, but it is a good go-to. With regards to Ayane's jab, you can just do jab check, so just press jab while holding down the guard button and you automatically guard. You see right here, I have a guard as a shoulder button, so you can just do like a jab check. So I mean, right here it's -1, so you're fully safe, so you don't have to worry about this. Like I already said, you can do like back turn jab jab stuff, back turn 2P. If you know the opponent's standing there, then the nice thing about knocking the opponent with this move is you can eventually like try and set him up to get hit by like a back turn 6B. Like the opponent doesn't want to get hit by this. It's a 6-frame throw, so you have to react really quickly. So they probably mentioned earlier that Ayane's jab is like a really good like PP6K, PP6K, and you can like delay the last hit. Well, there's PPP's tracking. And PP like 6B and PP 6B, same thing. You can end up like holding guard to go there. You can go for the lows if the opponent's really expecting the mid launchers. So yeah, the main thing about the jab is it like keeps the opponent in check. Anytime you think the opponent's gonna go for a throw of some sort, then the jab will end up leaving you at like plus. Keep this in mind. This is a 10-frame move, and see you're at +35, so you can end up like launching for free after that. So that you could do like any launcher. So jabs. So even connecting a jab can be really good for if the opponent like tries to, I don't know. I mean, anytime you think they're gonna to throw you, then I mean, a jab is a safe. It's a safe move here. Like if you think the opponent's gonna like throw, then you could end up. I mean, that plus 35 is really nice. For some go-to high crush and lows with Ayane, apart from the awesomeness that is the 12 frame 2P, I mean, like this move also goes pretty damn far at 1.7 meters. This is like a freaking Keepout tool. This move is so good. But for if you want a frame advantage, high crush and low, or low that goes under highs, 2H+K is your go-to. It's a 22 frame low, leaves you at +9, so it's enough frame advantage to try and sneak in a 6-4T throw. You could do 6K, 6K for a lift stun, 6B3, some like jab stuff. You can also like do so there's like a bunch of stuff you can end up doing this. You can also get this off of 33P 2K. Although with this one, if you're using it as a high crush, you might as well just use 2H+K. 33P is used for a bit further out. You could delay the hits or just simply do 33P. Even though you're -2, the opponent has to respect the delayable follow-up if you use 33P, but in close, 2H+K is fine. Another high crush and low you can use is 1P. This one is really nice. If it connects on normal hit, it's not really very good. But if it were to connect on counter hit, you're at +5. It leaves you back turn, so then you can follow up with a back turn 6K. The main thing also with 1P, why you can kind of get away with this, the opponent has to respect the delayable fall. Which I will warn you that if any of this, if 1P or 1P 2K get blocked, yes, it is unsafe and you can be throw punished for it. But like this, I mean, with the +5 and like it's just really anytime you can sneak in the back turn 6K, this move is just like really good. And like 1P and 2H+K never get hit by high, so those are good moves. Another crazy move that Ayane does have is her 4P. I'll just mention it right now. This move is from around at the edge of like close mid-range. This move goes under highs really well and can even go under some mids. But if you actually use this right in the opponent's face, it can still occasionally get hit by highs. So 1P like is better if you want to go under highs in close range, or there's even like 2P, 2H+K, where 4P can annoy the hell out of the opponent if you're around mid-range. If they run at you, smack them with this move, then they'll think twice about, well, running at you. At mid-range, Ayane's a lot more comfortable fighting than in close range. Because in mid-range, Ayane can enforce her primary playstyle, which is Keepout, also known as defensive pressure. Alright, your primary tools that you're going to be using for Keepout is just simply your K, also referred to as 5K. Alright, this move again is a 12 frame move. It goes pretty far at 1.71 meters, which is really good for a 12 frame K that can track. The main thing about this move is that it leaves you back turn and it covers a lot of reach. So what that means is that you can use it to control space easily. It is a great poke. Of course, it has numerous follow-ups. Right there, like KKK. Or KK2K, but under most circumstances, you're just going to use the first K, and if the opponent likes to run at you, then you can like use KK. But the main thing about this move is that because it puts you in back turn, remember, any move that leaves you in back turn, you can use 4-4, you end up creating space. So you can even just do K, back, K, back, K, back, K, back. Alright, so that's like your primary functions with it. It's just doing K, then back. However, if the opponent is actually coming at you, you can hit them with back turn 4H+K. This is a really good move right here. So this is Ayane's old back turn critical burst. So with this move, it is fully safe on block at -8, and when it connects on the opponent, it gives you a beautiful gut stun that allows you to fall with basically like any launcher. So you can fall with 4P+K, no problem. H+K reaches, and for a mid, use 4K, because if you end up using 3H+K, then it's a little harder to fall up unless, well, if you're in a corner, it's usually like no problem. But if you're like in open space, then it can whiff pretty easily. So just use, like, for instance, just use 4K, then just use 4PK afterwards and get like decent damage with it. So in general with K, you're just going to use this K in general to create space. If the opponent comes at you, use 4H+K. And as an alternative, if you want to, you can also just use back turn 2K is like a little low poke. Also, even though 4H+K is a great go-to in general. To complement 5K or just neutral K, Ayane also has 3H+K. This move is similar to K in the sense that it's a long reach and attack that also tracks and covers a lot of space and leaves Ayane back turned. I will give you a bit of a warning. In Dead or Alive 6, this move is actually pretty unsafe on block. If you do it in someone's face, you're at minus 13 plus back turn, so some characters can probably even basically launch you for free for that, so essentially don't use it in close range. If you can get it around tip range, that's a little better, but the main thing is that if you whiff this move, it's actually okay. The main thing about this move is, even though this move is very negative on block at minus 13, it has only 22 recovery frames. 22 recovery frames is very good. That's barely any recovery. And again, it leaves Ayane back turn, so you can just do 3H+K back, no problem. You can kind of like create space with this. But the main thing also is that, similar to K, it's setting up your back turn game. So from back turn, that means you get access to your PP. So with 22 recovery frames, you can easily try and jab after like 1P, back turn 2P, back turn 6P. Well, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. Back turn 4, P+K, P also, which is, I'll let you know, is a bit delayable, even though it's unsafe at minus 8. So essentially, the point you get is you get quite a bit of stuff you can do after this. Although in Dead or Alive 6, it's not as abusable as it was in Dead or Alive 5 or last round. So you need to be a bit careful with getting this blocked, especially in close range. But still, it is still a really nice tool. I already showed you when you do connect it. Do a dash up back turn H+K, then just do a 2-3-6K after for good go-to solid damage. There's also another tougher combo that you can do with it, I showed you in the other guide, but it's not as necessary in DOA 6, but it's still a pretty swaggy combo. Actually, for one more note with regards to neutral K, this is also a great way to set up Ayane's roll and stance. Right here, it's normally back turn 6-6, and you can hold it down. And you do a double roll as opposed to a single roll. But the main thing is K or 3KK. This sets up Ayane's roll. So this move can be used as a bit of a pseudo approach tool. I mean, if you use it predictably, you will get blown up. But in Dead or Alive 6, it got a nice addition to it, which is back roll, 4 roll P+K. Here, this move here gives you a nice juicy gut stun, just like back turn 4H+K. But the main thing about this move is it's similar to back turn 4H+K because it is safe on block. It says minus 8, but just like back turn 4H+K, it pushes back so much. Look at that space. So this move cannot be punished, so it's pretty safe. So essentially, with your roll, your go-to is P+K. Once the opponent tries to mid-punch you, and yes, some will try and do that, then when you know they're going to hold, you can go for the throw. Or if they do kind of like freeze up or anything, you could also just do a guard. If you're unsure if the opponent's going to try and defend, you can just guard. And if you know they're just standing there, you can try and like sneak in like a throw, for instance. But the main thing is going for the guard is a safe option when the opponent knows you're going to try and do this and then trying to hold. I mean, there's other stuff you can do, like let me just see right here. You could use the P option, you end up jumping around behind, but yes, if the opponent's anticipating it, that's unsafe. And there's also the K option, which is safe at -5, even though it's like back turned, even though those are the kind of options you just kind of use, I guess, to try and throw off the opponent. But in general, just doing back turn P+K, guard, or if you know they're going to try and hold and go for the throw is usually a good kind of go-to. I'm going to show you a bit of a riskier technique that you can end up using with Ayane around like mid-range or further out, is her 4H+K. Alright, this move goes pretty darn far at 2.58 meters, whereas 3H+K only goes 2.23 or 2.22 meters. I mean, yeah, I'm saying like only 2.22 or 2.3 meters. I mean, yeah, the point I'm trying to make is it goes pretty darn far. The downside, of course, is it's pretty unsafe at -17. -17 means you can get guaranteed 12 frame throw punish for free, so like don't use this in close range. Although you're not going to be using 3H+K in close range either. What you want to use is use these moves kind of like far out. Like for instance, 3H+K is not bad at all if it ends up whiffing, but you just get like a little extra range with like 4H+K. It could be like a little tricky for some characters to be able to whiff punish it well unless they're like really on point. So this move's strength is its range, and when it hits, you can always follow up with a 4P for like a small juggle. You can always follow up with 4K for a small juggle. H+K reaches also, and you can set up a bound. So and if you want, you can also just use S right there for a fatal stun. So you can get like a few kind of launch follow-ups after it. Whereas if you hit like 3H+K from tip, then it's a lot harder to follow up with, and you can't really like kind of get like any sort of launch follow-up. So I mean, 4H+K in that case can be like a bit scarier when it does hit because of the stumble stun. But yeah, it's still a move that you want to use in moderation. Like it's just another thing I guess for the opponent to worry about, but you still have to kind of use it fairly smart also. I'm going to show another risky move that you can use with Ayane from like mid-range to long range if you're feeling a bit frisky. It's her new 214K, her quarter circle back K, Ayane's new fatal stun move. Alright, this move is kind of slow at 27 frames, and when I say kinda, I mean like, yeah, pretty slow. And, but it does go pretty damn far at 3.26 meters, so I mean, like, it's like Ayane basically just kind of like goes across the screen, so that move goes like really far. But yeah, 27 frames, it's a little slow. So whereas like 3H+K or like 4H+K are kind of can be used to control space, this move is basically used if you're going to know the opponent's going to maybe whiff something at range on trying to like approach you or something like that. Then you can end up like nailing them with this move. It also jumps over lows like really well. So I mean, so that's a nice attribute of it. But it is unsafe on block at -13, which is generally par for the course for most kind of fatal stun like moves. So yeah, you can get punished if it gets blocked. But the main thing about this move is that it's a fatal stun. So when you hit, you always get a 4P+K combo attempt right afterwards. And another thing that's nice about this move is it does complement the S. So after an S, you can follow up with 214K right there. So I mean, if the opponent doesn't have the meter for a break hold, then yeah, that's pretty much guaranteed. And let me just waste the meter here. Another nice thing also about this move is that it builds up quite a bit of meter when you do hit it. Same with like a normal S. But this move though, as you see right there with the break gauge, is plus 12 meters. So either one is pretty good. But of course, after an S, that's pretty much guaranteed if they can't break hold. If you'd like a slightly safer option that you can use as opposed to doing those unsafe moves at range, I mean, if you're worried about being punished, then along with just like the stuff I showed you, like this, like a neutral K, you can also use like a jab right here. Same thing, it sets up back turn, so anything that sets up back turn you can do in like 4-4 or 8P also if you so desire. So because the thing about a jab, yeah, its range is really short. Like it goes 1.21 meters, which is like, well, it's a jab, so it's not really much of anything with regards to range, but it only has 14 recovery frames. So this is basically Ayane's fastest recovered move. I'm pretty certain she doesn't have anything that recovers faster than their jab. So it's 10 frames, 2 active frames, 14 recoveries. So this move is pretty, it's honestly probably one of the safest moves to kind of like chuck out. Like Ayane's 2P is also another good safe move to toss out. The main thing about Ayane's 2P is it's 12 frames. It goes, I already showed you, 1.47 meters. So you can use this move from around kind of mid-range also. Because it's 12 frames, it almost can be like a bit of a stop sign. And Ayane's jab is another like fast poke, but this one used to set up her back turn. So you can almost kind of use this to, well, basically set up her back turn, and then you get access to like her PP, back turn 6K. I think I already showed this, back turn 4H+K. So there's like a bunch of good stuff that you can like get out of this. So you can end up using like the jab and even just do like if they run at you back turn 6K. Like remember what I ended up saying before, 6K is pretty much good whether it's like whether it gets blocked or whether it hits the opponent. Either way, it's good. And again, tip range, you get +2 on guard. So this move is, so back turn 6K again, like a really good move. Using jab for control in space is also okay. If you like the range, so neutral K's of course is really good, and again they can go into the roll. So yeah, so both of these are like nice safe options for like control in space at range. A couple pokes that you can use from mid-range on your opponent would be, a good couple go-tos would be either 3P or 3K. Alright, 3P for starters is not really much on normal hit. At -11, that's kind of atrocious, and if 3PP gets blocked, then you're at a massive -14 plus back turn, which means you can get punished in like any way that the opponent really pleases. But essentially what you're just to be doing is just doing 3P. On paper, it's actually really negative on block, but it recovers pretty quickly at 22 frames. So similar to 3H+K, this move is good whether it whiffs. If it blocks, then it's kind of it leads to kind of a funny kind of situation where it's almost kind of a mix-up on both ends because it has highly delayable follow-ups. So if 3P gets blocked, just leave it at that. When the opponent starts to throw punish you for that, then you have to put in either 3PP like delay it, or 3P-K. See, it's like it's very delayable. If 3P, for instance, were to connect on counter hit, then you get a nice stun there, plus 21. So plus 21 means you can end up kind of getting easily fought with any launchers. Ayane's launchers are usually about 16 frames, so you can pretty much like follow up with any launcher. So 3P is really good on counter hit. If you confirm the hit, you can just launch right away with 3PP and go for a small juggle afterwards. But generally, 3P is generally a nice thing, because if the opponent does start throw punishing it, then that basically means they're going to open themselves up to delays. 3K is a bit better if it connects on normal hit. It gives you plus 6, which is enough to dash up on your opponent, and then they can try and employ a mix-up. But whereas 3PK or 3PP is a mid-low mix-up, 3K's follow-up is basically just a high. It's 3KK. You can go up to 4 times as 3KKKK and end it with a high, or you can end with a low that's also a really dangerous guard break. By just doing 2P, then you can try and do a back turn 6P, even though it pushes back quite a bit. But I might have ended up like showed you earlier that anything like 1H+K is really dangerous to the wall, because it's a guaranteed wall slam with back turn 6P. But in open space, it pushes back a bit. So sometimes you might have to do a micro dash to try and like follow up with it, so like buffer a 6-6. But yeah, but this guard break also can be it's like 38 or 39 frames. Yeah, 38 frames, so it can be highly telegraphed. Same with like 236H+K, so those are to be used sparingly. But getting back on 3K, similar to the second hit is basically just like a neutral K. So you can go for like the throw option, or the go-to, of course, is the P+K to test your opponent to see if they actually do hold it or anything. So you can do that, but the main thing is treat it the same as KK. Delay the hits. But in general, you're just going to do 3K or 3KK, or the opponents may start to try and hold the high portion. So, alright, if this move does connect on, let's say, counter hit. Alright, well, not on block. On block, it's -8. On hit, it's plus 21, so it's the same as 3P. So you can do the same thing. Use like any of Ayane's launchers, no problem. When you're at long range with Ayane, particularly if you have a life lead or a health lead over your opponent, you are in the driver's seat. You are in control. If you have a life lead over more health than your opponent, you're never obligated to have to go in. So you can you could basically employ Ayane's greatest strength, which is her Keepout. Right, the moves I kind of showed you around mid-range can also be used like around long range. Like for instance, 3H+K is a nice like Keepout move. K is good. If you sparingly, or once you start to have a read on your opponent, you can start to use 4H+K. So once you put the opponent in a position where they have to try and like kind of run at you, then that's when you can like start like nailing things with like 4H+K. If you know they're gonna like rush in carelessly or rush, I mean, yeah, there's KK is a safe option, but then you can like nail them with like a 3H+K to just running at you or anything. I mean, they're gonna leave themselves open to getting smacked by like KK or like PP kind of stuff. And even then, if they just like run at you or anything, they don't. I mean, if the Ayane's H+K has a lot of range. It only launches on counter hit, but it like goes like pretty good far. I mean, 2.09 meters is pretty solid for a 16 frame move like this, and it launches, gives you enough for a bound combo. So for blown up approaches, H+K is really good. Jab is pretty safe. KK is pretty safe. 3KK is okay. 3P is pretty good. 2P again is like the stop sign. It's good on normal hit or on counter hit. It creates space when it pushes back. So you get lots of options for keeping the opponent out. Also, if you want to try and get clever, you can also like make use of Ayane spins. Because yes, if you wanted to play Ayane, you probably want to spin. So this is P+K P. I just pressed P+K twice. You can either twirl forward with 3 or down forward, or twirl back with 1. The P+K P in itself will counter hit stuff like pretty easily. It's pretty fast. It's 13 frames from the front, or if you do it from back turn, it's 11 frames. And it's like, we'll beat out everything but like pretty much just like jabs or moves that will go under it. So like this is a pretty good move. It gives you pretty good stun on counter hit, and you can like do a little like combo afterwards, or which you like so like. So I mean, Ayane just gets like a lot of options for keep out. With regards to Ayane's spins, well, a very good tool for end up just inducing a spin is just simply Ayane's 1P+K. So this move is a good way to set up Ayane's back turn stance while also creating space. If you want, you can also just hold down the guard button and you turn back around, or you can use Ayane's new technique, which is 1P+K 6 or down back P+K forward. So what this does is it faces Ayane forward while creating a little bit of space, and it also acts as a bit of a feint if the opponent assumes you're going to be going backwards. Although, before you start getting used to using the 1P+K 6, you can just use 1P+K and use like down 2K from back turn. So back turn 2K as like a low poke. So it gives you a +8 trip stun on normal hit. If it ends up connecting around like tip range, it's only like +7 and you get half the damage, but it's still good. So this move is tracking like most Ayane moves. It's 18 frames, so it's hard to react to. So it's a decent low poke. There's also 2H+K, but you might as well just do 2K. 2H+K, I don't really find it as useful. But back turn 2K is good. With regards to spins, what makes 1P+K nice is that there's a couple moves you can get out of it. 1P+K P. See right here, you get the gut stun, but it is unsafe on block at -8. It's the same as back turn 4P+K P. So -8, even as delayable as that is. If you want to get a guard break, you have to basically hold it down and then press the P right before the spin ends. It's a bit weird because you can't just simply hold down 1P+K the whole time. You have to press the P before the spin wears off, and then you get your +5. You can also get that off of a P+K 1 spin. Right there, you get the +5, but I know it takes a bit of practice to get down. But if you're afraid of like that, you're gonna get the unsafe version. What you can do is just check out this move right here. 1P+K K. So it's -5 if you do it on opponent's block in close range. I just barely whiffed it. If you get it at tip range, it actually can, because of the frame manipulation, this has 5 active frames. So that means that there's 5 frames that can lead to like 3 or 4 frames of variance. So if you get it around tip range, technically speaking, you can get it as low as -1. So with the 5 active frames, that usually means a 4 frame variance. If you do it right in the opponent's face, that's all the recovery frames, so that's -5 on guard. You're fully safe, and then if you're really worried, you could do a fuzzy guard with 3-3H. But if you get it around tip range, that's -1 or -2, then you can like a bari with a jab or like 2P, no problem. And some people may even try and throw this because it has 28 recovery frames, so it looks unsafe. So this move can almost be like, well, like punish bait or throw punish bait. If you do 1P+K hold, oh, there, I held it too long, and do it, then it gives you the same move, even though you get a different sound effect. So it doesn't really matter how long you hold it, just to kind of throw the opponent off. Continuing on with Ayane's 1P+K spins, these spins are just good in general, because it's basically the way for Ayane to set up her back turn stance, while also end up creating some space. Whereas, in general for Ayane with creating space, when she has her back to her opponent, then you press either 8P+K or 4-4, and you create your space, where 1P+K creates space while going into back turn stance. So what makes this good though is that it sets up your back turn stance safely. But another thing also with Ayane is her 1P+K 6. What makes this tool dangerous though is that the opponent has to keep track is if you're using 1P+K to go into back turn stance to set up your back turn options, or if you're using 1P+K and 1P+K 6 and you're just staying in front. Generally, an Ayane coming at you could be really scary. For instance, I know a lot of Ayanes like to do run up 2-3-6K. I mean, generally speaking, when an Ayane is running at you, you don't want to get hit by that move, because it does set up quite a bit of damage, and 2-3-6K also builds up a decent amount of meter, also, especially if you get the close hit option. So, yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be really using that very often, but it's still a very dangerous move, and 2-3-6K is also a really good low crush also, and it's really fast at 16 frames, but it's -13 on block, so it is unsafe, and it can seem scrubby if you chuck it out. But the kind of point I'm trying to make is that Ayane running at you actually can be pretty scary. So because of that, with 1P+K 6, you can end up sneaking in throws pretty easily, like run up throws. So I mean, the thing about Ayane though is that she's really good at basically inducing whiffs and like punishing whiffs. So basically, when the opponent's trying to approach you, they don't want to whiff. So a lot of times they might do stuff like run up block or anything. That in that case, you can end up stealing the throw. The main thing about 1P+K6 is, of course, it's like a cover to 1P+K or 1P+K6. You can't really tell that easily which one. You can't really tell easily which one Ayane's doing, and of course, there's also the P option, which I ended up like showing you. Also, from back turn, of course, if you end up like running at Ayane, her back turn H+K will end up blowing you up pretty easily. This move, I'll just let you know, is also a really good high crush, and I think it even has some mid crush frames. Like, this move just avoids a lot of crap. It has 24 damage, it has a lot of priority, so it's like a really good move. Just like 1P+K6 just augments the mix-ups you can do from 1P+K really well. It just really aids with Ayane's space control. And of course, if you have a life lead, then you can almost go ham. And I already showed you earlier. I think I just showed you earlier. You can also hold block to turn around also. And actually, just as an approach tactic, I can show you this right now. If you do 8P+K and hold down block, like I'm holding down block as a shoulder button. So what you can do is just kind of like a little special like Ayane dash right there. Right there. So what you end up doing is that when you press 8P, it ends up going back turn, but if you want to face the front, then just simply hold guard. Right there. I know I'm going like a little slowly, but I know you can if you can go really fast if you end up like just like really start to like get it down. Right there, like just hold down guard, just do 8P, but you kind of get the idea. But yeah, 1P+K6 can be really scary. Even to top it off, it can kind of complement your 6-6 moves, such as 6-6KK4, or even just a single 6-6K. I'll just let you know that you can also use to extend the stun with 6-6P4 after a 6-6K if you so desire, for like more back-turn mix-ups or anything like that. That's just an alternative if you just don't necessarily just want to like launch right away. I mean, either choice is yours, but yeah. 1P+K6 is really good. Alright, I'm going to show you another tactic now with regards to kind of, I don't know, mid-range space control, kind of like a bait or feint kind of thing. It's the same move I kind of showed you earlier, 6B3. I mean, of course your go-to is just 6B3 guard, but the main thing about this move is that Ayane's spinning, and when Ayane's spinning, the opponent's not entirely sure what's coming at you. When the opponent's not entirely sure what's coming at them, they don't know when to attack or not. So with that, you can kind of like sneak in the lows sometimes pretty easily, because the opponent doesn't know if you're going to maybe do it again. As soon as they start pushing buttons, then you just launch them. And I'll just let you know that that move right there, back turn 3H+K, always launches for a bound. Whereas 6B3P only does a minimum launch if it's not during stun or on counter hit, but still pretty good. Basically, the opponent doesn't want to get launched, so that's what can make her forward spin so scary. But when you do it at range, it's basically a bit of a bait. Like, this move only has 22 recovery frames. 22 recovery frames is good. With 22 recovery frames, you can easily recover into a block and kind of like bait a response from the opponent. Yeah, you can keep doing it. You could try and sneak a 2H+K if the opponent may try to end up doing a high, like for instance, like 2H+K. Be careful not to get 3H+K by mistake. But yeah, the main thing about 6B3 though is that it's a good way to enter the spin a lot to complement P+KP. Be careful about spinning too much, or the opponent may start to end up like smacking you for that. I mean, if you spin, but that's why sometimes spinning safely, like 1P+K1's like kind of a safe way to like, it's a safer way to spin, for instance. But with 6B3, this one does even just like there and maybe back and maybe like hold back and maybe go back, because remember the free step block back step, so there's some blocking stance ends up like going back. So there's like different kind of things you can do. You can enter it with like 7, for instance. So yeah, this is a pretty good move, 6B3. I'll let you know at range, you can also enter this move with 9P. it does slightly more damage. 6P does 18. 9P does 22 damage. So, same thing. You can enter it into spinning. Exact same type of situation. Alright, although the main point of doing 9P is you cover more space, and because you're jumping, it's more of a slightly deceptive looking animation. I mean, a little bit. But I will let you know, this move actually doesn't low crush very well. I mean, your low crush of choice will unfortunately have to be like 9K, which is semi-safe at -7. But yeah, but 9P is just like a nice little alternative. Like it's basically like a longer ranged 6P3, but still both good ways for Ayane to enter into her spin-in twirl stance. One last thing about 1P+K6 for now. If you end up getting a big stun, such as like a lift stun, then 1P+K6 can still leave you at frame advantage. So it could basically be kind of like a frame trap during stun, so you can end up leaving yourself at +6. So any of your like general moves will end up being like, well, basically if the opponent thinks it's their turn, then they'll end up getting countered. Same with just doing a normal 1P+K. Also, you'll get less frame advantage at +4 after like a 6K lift stun, or and if off of a back turn 6P lift stun. I mean lift stun, you'll get +2. But the kind of idea though is just to see that you can end up like doing some kind of like frame advantage during stun. I mean, I know under most circumstances you'll want to launch, but if you want to kind of keep the pressure going, that is a neat thing to keep in mind. Anytime you get a knockdown with Ayane off of, let's say, a 236K, if the opponent stays on the ground, then hit them with 1P, then 2K. Alright, be careful not to just get 1P, 2K, because that won't work, because it's not a strong enough double. You have to do 1P, then back turn 2K, not 1P, 2K. So, to show you, for instance, you could do 1P guard, then back turn 2K, then you'll end up waking up the opponent. If they push a button too early, then the 1P, for instance, would wake him up. 1P, unfortunately, doesn't work as well because the range is kind of short. It can still work in corners and under like certain situations, for instance. But you see, the second 1P can whiff easily, so that's why you can just use 2K to wake up the opponent. And when you do that, you leave yourself at around like +14. After, let's say, a knockdown or anything with Ayane, let's say you just want to like maintain your space or anything like that, Ayane's 7P is really good at doing that. I mean, 1P+K is already good at creating space and leaving you in back turn stance, but 7P just creates a lot of space like really easily, so you can even do like run up 7P and stuff like that, so it ends up creating another space. And also, a tactic that you can use for, also if you want to like punish an opponent's wake up kick, is end up doing like right over their body, do it a jab, then 4-4, then do jab 4-4 1P+K, then you end up like creating a lot of space, and then you can end up like punishing like wake up kicks like usually pretty easily with that. See if I could just like show you for example, like so. And if you want to be even more devious on wake up, what you're gonna do is go like right up to the opponent's body and do 8P, then 8K, then hold the guard button. Then what it does is Ayane ends up faking out her. She ends up faking out her back turn 8K. So this is a new move she got in DOA 6. Hold the guard button, and then she just does like a fake out. So it can actually be pretty devious, even though I know timing it can be a little tricky at times. Like so, and then like you see right that you jump right behind the opponent. I mean, it's definitely like a huge like what the hell moment when you end up doing that to the opponent, and then you can punish them for free with a 6P 3P. Ayane's throw game is strong. It's not quite grappler strong, but for a striker character, Ayane's throw game is quite strong in Dead or Alive 6. For instance, Ayane's throws are very good at either getting environmental damage. For instance, her 5-frame neutral throw can get floor damage, or creating space. For instance, her 6T 7-frame throw chucks her opponent forward. Her 4T back throw chucks the other 7-frame throw, ends up kicking the opponent the other way, so it ends up switching sides. I'll let you know that her 6T ends up going like a little further, 1.6 frames, 1.6 meters, where her 4T goes like a little shorter, 1.5 meters. So if you're unsure what 7-frame throw to use, on the safe side, just use her 6T. Alright, her quarter circle forward 10-frame throw does okay damage and ends up getting like some floor damage. Also, it ends up creating space, your back turn, so you can use her roll mix-ups if you so desire, or you can even like do a little dash up, then back turn 6K, which I'll let you know that if you know the opponent's gonna wake up or tech roll or anything, this move is like really good because again, +1 on block, +2 at tip range. So back turn, anytime you can sneak in that move is always good. Her Ayane's other 10-frame throw is just simply her two-part throw right here. It's the most common throw you get when you end up doing like run-up throw. It does like decent damage, but yeah, it's not really anything special. And her go-to punish throw for holds is her quarter circle back. Her 214T right here. So with floor damage, you end up getting like over 100 damage, so that's really nice. But of course, the star of the throw game for Ayane is her 6-4T 12-frame throw. Anytime you think that the opponent's just going to freeze up or anything, try and sneak in 6-4T. If you think the opponent might try and react or anything like that, then your 7-frame throw is a little faster and it's completely unreactable. But if you know they're going to be standing there guarded, just sneak in this throw. It leaves you at +16 plus back turn. So that's the equivalent of like +21. So that means any 19-frame move or faster will be guaranteed. But in this case, that really doesn't matter because what you're going to be using is either 6B3P or 6B3H+K. And if you want to get cute, you can use 6-4T as a reset throw. Ayane's a few specialty throws also. For instance, I already showed you earlier her awesome 6-frame back turn T. I mean, this throw is just amazing. What makes this throw so good is that it forces the opponent to have to make a reaction every time they get hit. That's again why jab checks are so good. It's a 6-frame, unreactable, unbreakable throw. So the opponent has to do something in order to not get hit by this. So that back turn 6T is good. Let's see, other throws. Ayane has her 8T, which is her 25-frame jump in throw. It looks similar to 8H+K, which also has a couple follow-ups, such as 8H+K, which is the mid option, leaves you at -8, and 8H+K 2K leaves you at -14. So 8H+K is a decent kind of ranged move in itself. Like anytime, let's say on Wake Up or where you have a bit of advantage, you can use this to kind of keep the opponent in check. But in general, 8T is like a decent throw again to just kind of throw the opponent up. When the opponent's frozen up, then they're kind of like, what the hell are you doing when you jump at them? So that's when you can kind of like sneak that in as like a kind of an alternative to 6-4T if you so desire. Other novelty throw that Ayane has is her back turn 6T. Alright, this throw does like a tremendous amount of damage if it were to hit on high counter. I can show you right now. He's back turn 6T, so it does 112 on an explosive floor, so I know it's a little below 110 if you end up hitting normally. I think like maybe 104-ish or so. But yeah, the explosive floor is like buffing the damage a bit. It's just like back rolling T. Except for back rolling T comes out a bit more hidden, and that one you're more likely to sneak in as opposed to this one. This one is straight up for if you think if you see the hold or if you think the opponent's going to hold, then just like you chuck this out, even though you have to kind of chuck it out a bit in anticipation because at 27 frames it's a bit slower. This throw, I meant you would sneak in a little bit more often, but either way, this throw you want to keep it in relative moderation and use more, I guess, more safer options instead. To complement Ayane's back turn 6T, which has, I mean, 28 recovery frames, she also has a back turn 2T. So if the opponent, for instance, tries to low hold you, like so, that's what happens. So sometimes the opponent is to be trying to hold the second hit of back turn 3 KK. So let's say you just do one, you do the low hold, smack him with back turn 2T for over well, for a tremendous amount of damage. With the Explosive 4, it's over 100 damage, so this is really scary. Ayane's defensive holds are pretty decent. For the most part, what they do is that a lot of them tend to just allow you to create some space. Like this is our high punch hold right here. Ends up knocking the opponent away. It can get environmental damage too if it knocks the opponent into something. Here's her low punch hold, ends up creating space and leaves Ayane back turn. I might have showed you that earlier. I don't remember. Oh no, that was the. It looks similar to her 236 T throw like this. So create space, leaves Ayane back turn. And with Ayane, her low kick hold also ends up knocking the opponent away like pretty well. So those are the holds you use for creating space. Her standard mid punch hold, it can get like floor damage or ground damage, but it doesn't really like create much space. And same with her like mid kick hold. Like this one just puts you behind the opponent, leaves you at +8. So like after this hold, you can either do like 6K or 6K 6B3, or you could try and go for a throw, but of course if the opponent's pushing buttons, you'll just get counter hit, so you have to use one of your strike options. And the high kick hold, I think I haven't showed you that one yet. And for the high kick hold, this one, similar to the mid punch hold, just kind of leaves the opponent right there. It can get floor damage just like the mid punch hold. So Ayane's holds either create space, can get environmental damage. Well, you get frame advantage from the mid kick one. Ayane's standard holds are pretty good in themselves, but what really ends up stealing the show for Ayane are two expert holds. She has an expert mid punch hold and an expert mid kick hold. I'll show you the expert mid punch hold right now, inputted with forward back or 6-4H. Alright, this operates exactly like, let's say, Ayane's 6-4T throw. Like, it gives you enough advantage to get the same follow-up, so you can just do 6P, 3P if you like so desire, for instance. But an actual difference with this move is that after a 6-4T, the opponent can duck under your KK, but after, let's say, a mid-punch hold, expert mid-punch hold, then KK would end up, you can't actually crouch under it, so you can actually use KK mix-ups if you want. Like, for instance, you could do KK and go for a launcher right away. Then get your juggle combo. You can also like launch with like 4K and I think 4P+K. So I mean, you can get a little like creative with that also if you like so desire. Or even just launch with 3PP. Get a small juggle after that, so and get like solid damage. But if you just want to take the safe route, like you don't want to worry about like the mix-up or anything like that, then just use the same combos that you use after off of 6-4T. Ayane's normal mid-kick hold is kind of meh. It doesn't give you anything guaranteed or anything like that. You just get a +8 mix-up on a back-turned opponent. However, Ayane's expert mid-kick hold is incredibly dangerous. It's basically a super launcher. The main thing about Ayane's expert mid-kick hold is, well, basically the same with like the expert mid-punch hold is, the main purpose of the expert mid-punch hold is to basically discourage the opponent from using elbows. Like for instance, someone like Kasumi has an 11-frame elbow, so you want to discourage that, and that's where for instance, the expert mid-punch hold would come into play. But if you want to like discourage like mid-kicks, or if you want to also like discourage, for instance, I don't know, like, let's say, let me just reset this again. So let's say you want to discourage wake-up kicks. So like this, so you can right there, you can discourage the mid wake-up kick, and if you want to discourage the low wake-up kick, for instance, then you have 9K, which can like crush it really well, and then you have your expert mid kick hold to discourage the opponent from doing from doing mid wake-up kicks. Well, let me just show you some stuff that you can do off of the super launcher hold. Ayane's wall game's pretty decent. A good go-to wall slam with Ayane's are 6BK. Then you can follow up with their Fatal Rush if you so desire. If you don't really feel like going for the Fatal Rush because it is a little slow and sometimes it can drop depending on what you wall slam with, then PP6PK juggles really easily off of like almost anything. You can also use 4PK, like all that does decent damage. As for moves that you can wall slam with, well, along with the aforementioned 6BK, you can also use KK is fine, H+K is fine, 66KK4 is fine, 3H+K is fine. The thing if you wall slam with moves that leave Ayane back turn, for instance, if you wall slam with 3H+K, you can actually bound after that 3H+K, then do 236K. Because after most moves, Ayane's forward bound move does not work, so only moves that leave her back turn. For 66KK4, what you do is hold guard, then you'll turn around, then the PKK bound will work. But you have to be pretty quick for it. Wow, I just missed the citizen assist right there. So yeah, it's same with also like 236, if it's not an angled wall hit. Same with like 236 H+K. Oh wow, I keep getting angled wall hits. See, back turn H+K does work, and you can end up using for the close hit move, and you can get a lot of damage off of that. If you get a small wall spot with Ayane, most commonly induced with counter hit 3K or any version of like back turn 4P+K P. So on counter hit, you end up getting like the small wall slump. What you can actually do something pretty dirty after that. So sidewalk up, you can get a guaranteed 6P+K on the well, guaranteed limble stun on the opponent's back, and everything after that it would be guaranteed. So you can get like pretty good like damage off of it. Like I can just like show you right now. Oh, and also if you end up using a break blow and you end up falling up like relatively early in the combo, so not like at the end of like a really long combo, then you can usually end up getting a splat right there. Let me just set the meter to full. So right now I can kind of like just show you just how much damage you can like end up getting off something like this, just for instance. That's a lot of juicy damage. When you have the opponent set up for a citizen assist, just basically use the same moves that you would normally wall slam with, like 6PK. Any of your normal launchers, including ones that would normally wall slam, such as for instance like 4K can normally wall. Alright, it doesn't seem to be doing it right there. 4K can normally end up wall slamming, for instance, on counter hit. But after this, it's okay, fine. Same with the H+K. See, you're given enough space so it doesn't end up wall slamming, so that's fine. 4P+K doesn't wall slam in general. You could do like a little juggle after that. After you end up knocking the opponent down, and also show. All right, let me just show you, for instance, after this. After you knock the opponent down, you can do like a 2P, 1P if they like lie on the ground, or after the knockdown, for instance, you can end up like jumping away like right away, or do like 1P+K. And what you can do is actually hold down guard and do it repeatedly, and then sneak in like a 1P+K. So this is kind of like. So what you're doing is that you're guarding in between your spins. I mean, that's kind of like backing up after Oki at a wall. So although if you always are like backing away, the opponent might just like run at you and end up striking you for it. So sometimes you have to end up like kind of like mixing up, backing off, and sometimes even just like to discourage the opponent from staying on the ground. Sometimes you have to just simply go for like a ground attack. I know it's not much, but you get your 10 damage. It's better than nothing. It's just sometimes you have to just try and discourage the opponent from just staying on the ground if you can. I know in Dead or Alive 6 it can be hard. Alright guys, that's it for now. Alright, just as a recap, the general playstyle that you're going to be using with Ayane is considered to be kind of semi-rushdown, semi-turtle. Although Ayane specializes really well in Turtle and Keepout, you're only gonna win like that if you constantly have a life lead over the opponent and the opponent is generally quite impatient and reckless. But if you're fighting an opponent that is patient and not reckless, then you're eventually gonna have to try and pressure them. So what that means is kind of like inching in on your opponents, using the different techniques at your disposal to try and like make some baits, and eventually try and making use also of stuff like 1 B+K6 and sneaking in those tick throws. The main purpose of tick throws though is that's basically the main form of pressure with Ayane's, getting in 6-4T. 2P also helps that out with that a lot, being able to get in like jabs, 6B3. So a lot of the different moves I ended up showing you and being able to put back turn 6K on the opponent's block, like, and of course punch grab. All this stuff is really good pressure on Ayane's opponent and helping to maintain this semi-aggressive, semi-rushdown, semi-turtley style. So in a way, think of it that Ayane can kind of do both. Alright guys, that's it for now. I just want to thank you for joining me on this very prolific Ayane journey. I do want to give a shout out to Hashin Shinobi, Backturn Legend, just for both giving me some tips and just giving me some ideas with regards to this video. And also another really awesome Japanese Ayane player that I want you to check out is Shimatsu. I mean, he streams fairly regularly, so let me check out some really awesome Ayane play from him that will also demonstrate this kind of this kind of semi-aggressive, semi-turtley kind of style that I've just been mentioning. And of course, I want to thank Smart Esports and Trollcoin for endorsing this video. And as always, if you like this video, smash that like button. If you didn't like this video, just hit the like button anyway, and don't forget to subscribe for more juicy 3D fighter content. In particular, I have a lot of top tier tips, advanced and beginner guides, and I have character guides for basically every character in Dead or Alive 6. But yeah, if you'd like to support the channel, feel free to join Top Tier Fighters to support this help, and I do appreciate it. And if you have any further questions, feel free to contact me on my YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. You can also contact Force Nature on freestepdodge.com. Anyways, this is Force Nature signing off. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time on Top Tier Tips.
Winner! Don't make me laugh.